Hello, my name is Frank Wouters, and I'm happy to be with you today. Today we're discussing the sustainability guidelines for large-scale hydrogen projects. And, it was my task to look at it from a private sector perspective. So how does an investor look at, additional criteria for projects? I think the answer is relatively straightforward. Time and again, we've seen that companies and investors that adhere to, sound criteria regarding how to integrate the local community, how to not violate environmental aspects, etc. They just do better. So it makes business sense to adhere to proper standards. You don't want to pollute the environment, but also if you don't, then you actually do better as a business. So in that sense, I don't think there is any conflict. Of course, we have to find a balance. There has to be an economic business case. Sustainability also means that there has to be a profit, otherwise the investment just won't happen. But I do not think there is any conflict between not polluting the environment and integrating communities and adhering by good standards with business. So in that sense, it's relatively straightforward. Now let us look at one example, and that is water. Very often, hydrogen projects are very competitive in arid areas. Land is available, there's not that many people, and usually, very often, the renewable energy resource is fantastic. However, the name arid already alludes to it. There is not, enough water for anything. And very often, projects then will need to take seawater, so you build a desalination plant at the coast and then pipe it to a project location. Now, if you then look at the business case of that, you find out very quickly that the cost of water desalination is not very high. I mean, it's a big investment, but the overall investment is much bigger. And the cost of the water desalination is maybe 1 to 2% of the overall cost of the hydrogen production. And that makes it actually, from a problem to a solution. Because then you can consider just oversizing that water desalination plant, oversizing, for example, doubling, the production volume of water doesn't double the investment. So for a little bit of extra money, you can actually, provide additional water to communities that live around the plant. So instead of a problem, you turn this into a solution. People can, develop agriculture. We have cattle, etc., etc. So that is a great example of, sustainability guidelines that actually add tremendous value to local communities. Now, how are we going to use those guidelines? There is three, ways why, they're useful. First of all, it provides a common framework for understanding of the issues. So everybody that reads the guidelines thinks about local value creation. How can we extend the local value in the countries and for the communities? About water, about the environment, etc., etc. Everything that we try to cover in the guidelines. But then, secondly, it provides a framework for decision making, both from a government perspective as well as from a lender's perspective. If a government, orchestrates a new market, for example, through auctions for land for these investments, then the guidelines can support that decision making. And the same for the lenders. We also know that very often these projects, they require concessional finance provided by development finance institutions. And again, the guidelines can, provide a frame of reference for decision making, for who gets the money, how much money, etc., etc. So I think it's relatively straightforward. We have thought about all these issues, discussed them at length. I think the result is fantastic, and they can be very useful. Thank you very much.